go ahead in your notes. I don't think I typed this in there for you. So go ahead and write this in there. I want this line right here, this edge, to be 12 inches. The height right here to be 4 inches. And then this one right here to be 3 inches. Does everybody see where that matches up on your notes? Okay. So we're starting with surface area. And remember, surface area, the important part of this is to figure out how many faces you have. Every face is going to be different. Some of them might be the same, but we need to make sure we cover all of them. So we said we had how many faces? We have 6 on this one. Okay, on our rectangular prism, we have 6 faces. And I'm going to kind of number them on here. So we have 1, 2, and then I'm going to draw an arrow to back here for 3. And then the bottom, I'm going to call 4. Here's our 5th one. And then our 6th one is right here. Okay, so can everybody kind of picture where all of those are? Now, to find the surface area, we have to find the area of each one of these and then add them all together. You have enough information to fill in everything that you need. So let's just start with this easy face right here. Okay, we have a base of what? 12, because if this is 12 up here, that means this is 12 down here, right? That also means this is 12 back here, and it also means that this, let's see if I do my dotted line over here. It means that this one right here, a little crooked, is also 12. Okay, if it helps you to put in these dotted lines, do that. So does everybody see how you can kind of see through my rectangular prism now? And I think that that would be very helpful if you could get in the habit of doing that. If you don't get those dotted lines, it might be helpful for you to draw them in. So from here, if I look at this blue face here, I have a base of 12 and a height of what? 4. A height of 4. If this one is 4 over here, that means this one is 4. Does everybody see that? Yeah. So I'm going to number these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we have 12 times 4. This is my number 1. So what's the area of face number 1? 12 times 4. 48. Okay, that's face 1. Now, if I look on the opposite side, so if you kind of look through this rectangular prism, okay, to side number, I named it 3 right here. I still have my dotted line right here is a base of 12, and it still has a height of 4. You're always going to have doubles on a rectangular prism. Okay, so if face number 1 is 48, then the opposite side is also going to be 48. So that means we called it face number 3 is also 48. Okay, that's the side that you can't see. It's on the back side. Is everybody okay with that one? So now let's do the top and the bottom, because those two are going to be the same as well. So if I'm looking at the top of this rectangular prism, I have a base of what? 12 and a height of what? If this is 3 down here, what's this one up here? It's 3. Okay, looking on this rectangular side over here, this rectangular face, it's 3 by 4. So be careful here. If this one's 4, then this one's 4. But if this bottom one is 3, then the top one is 3. Just like with a regular rectangle, the opposite sides are congruent. So for the face of this top one and the bottom one, because we still have 12 here and 3 here, what's the area of those? 36. 36. So I named those, what is it, 2 and 4? Yeah, 2 and 4. So those are both 36. 36 and 36. So far, so good? So the last two that we need, I named them 5 and 6. And again, those are going to be the same as well, because they're opposite of each other. What's the base of this one? 3. And what's the height of this one? 4. So what's the area of this one? 1. Okay, so the area of this one is 12, which means the area of 6 is 12 as well. That's the hard part. The last thing we need to do is just add them together. So let's see, we get 14 plus 14 is 28, plus 4 is 32. So put the 2, carry the 3, and then 7, 8, 9, 10, 17, 18, 19. So that means the area of this, the surface area of this rectangular prism is 192 inches squared. And since we are finding area, we're still doing inches squared. Okay, because every single one of these would have been inches squared, inches squared, inches squared, and so on. So our answer is in units squared. Questions on this one? All right, let's move on to volume of this one. Okay, volume of prisms is actually pretty easy. Okay, all you have to do, and you're going to have to take a second and write this down, is you find the area of the base, whatever the base is, and you multiply that by the height. Okay, the reason I'm not giving you, what do you guys use in science? Base times width times height? Is that what you do? Okay, that works for rectangular prisms and the square prisms. But when we get into the circular prisms, which we call cylinders, you need to follow this formula. Area of the base times the height. Okay, even with our triangular prisms, which we'll do next, we need to do area of the base times the height. Okay? And a good way to remember to think about which one the base is I know I always tell you the bottom, but when you're thinking of prisms, it's whichever shape defines that prism. So in this case, it's a rectangular prism, so you want to find the base of the rectangle and then multiply it by the height. On the second one that we do, it's a triangular prism. Okay, so since it's called a triangular prism, you're going to find the base is the triangle and then multiply it by the height. Okay, so that's kind of a good way to remember this. So here, if I draw my dotted lines back in, okay, we're going to find the area of the base, which is this space right here, and we're going to multiply it by the height. So the area of this space, well, we have this one right here is 12, and then this one right here is 3, so what's the area of the base? 36. And then what is my height? So going from the bottom, and it's kind of hard to draw perpendicular, but it's perpendicular to the base, so it goes straight up from there. So our height is what? 4. So all we have to do is 36 times 4. Now when we're doing volume, okay, the area of the base is really 36 inches squared, right? And then we're multiplying it by 4 inches. So what's our unit going to be at the end? What's inches times inches times inches? Inches cubed. Okay, we've done it 3 times. That's why volume becomes the units cubed. So did anybody, who did 36 times 4 already? Anybody? Harley, what'd you get? 144? So this one becomes 144 inches cubed. Okay? So if you were measuring water in inches cubed, and you stuck this rectangular prism in there, it would displace the water 144 inches cubed. Okay, that's how much space it takes up. If we were to have 1-inch blocks, which I'm trying to come up with an activity to do that, how many blocks would fit in here? 144. Okay? Here's the next one. So we're going to start with surface area, and this would be called a triangular prism. Okay? So since it's defined by a triangle, the base of this one would be the triangle. So when we find volume, we're going to have to find the area of the triangle and then multiply it by its height. But this one gets a little tricky with our surface area. I think surface area is definitely a little more difficult than volume. We'd have, let's see, how many faces do we have on here? 5. We have a triangle, and then a rectangle, and a rectangle in the back here. Does everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay. Are my triangles going to be the same?
Yes.
The area of them? Yes. So we have 2 triangles. Okay, and we're going to double that. So we'll find the area of one of them and just double it. And then what about the rectangles? Are those going to be the same?
No.
No, they're not. So we need to be very careful about rectangle, rectangle, rectangle. Okay? So make sure when you're finding surface area that you figure that out first. You figure out what faces you have and whether or not they're the same. How do you find the area of triangle? Base times height divided by 2. So if I'm looking, I have this triangle up here and this triangle down here, which means this is 5 yards, right? What's my base of the triangle? Or triangles?
5.
It's 5. Because our height is what?
1.5.
1.5. Remember, your base and your height are always perpendicular. So we're going to do 5 times 1.5.
7.5.
Let's see, we get 25, and then 7, count your decimals. And then to find the area of the triangle, we divide by 2, right? But in this case, we're going to multiply these by 2 when we're done anyway. So can we just leave it?
Yes.
So I'm saying right now that this triangle and the area of this triangle together is 7.5. Does everybody see how I did that? It's kind of a little trick. So if I were to divide this by 2, we would get, what would we get? 3.75?
Yeah.
But then what's 3.75 plus 3.75? We're back to 7.5 again. So instead of dividing by 2 and then multiplying by 2, I just left it the same. So my 2 triangles together is 7.5 yards squared. So now let's find our rectangles. Let's start with the one in the back here. What's the base of this one in the back?
5.
And what's the height of this one in the back?
4.
So what's 5 times 4?
20.
20. So this one's 20 yards squared. Okay? Let's look at this one in front right here. What's the base of this one in front?
4.
And what's the height of the one in front?
4.
So the area
16.
is 16 yards squared. And then this one over here, what's the base of this one?
2.
2. And what's the height of this one?
4.
4. So what's 2 times 4?
8.
8. So we have 8 yards squared. Yes?
Wouldn't the one in the front of 4 yards by 4 yards, wouldn't that technically be a square?
Yeah. A rectangle is a square. Or a square is a rectangle, right?
Right.
I could call it rectangles. It doesn't look very accurate, but that's okay. They give you measurements, you have to go by them. Alright, so what we're going to do with these, we're just going to add them together. So 20 plus 24 is 44, and then we have 7.5. So the whole surface area of the whole entire surface is 51.5 yards squared. Are we good on that?
Yes.
You guys are taking notes on this, right? Let's do the volume of this one, and that's probably all we're going to have time for today. So again, the volume of a prism is whatever it's defined by. So in this case, this is a triangular prism. You need to find the area of the triangle and then multiply it by the height. Well, we already found the area of the triangle. Okay, we had 7.5, and then we have to divide that by 2.
3.5.
So that's 3.75. So we already have the area of the triangle. Okay, all we have to do is multiply it by the height. What's my height? 4. So this is already inches square or yards squared. So when we multiply it by another yard, that's going to give us our yards cubed. So this becomes 20, and then 30, and then 12, 13, 14, 15. Count your decimals. Okay, so this actually equals 15 yards cubed because it's volume.